governments and their ideologies and philosophies and whatnot. And of course this country is riddled with a fear of a single word that the majority have no idea what it means. Communism. Communism. And political and social scientists, communism, which comes from the Latin communis and means common and universal, and is the philosophical, social, political and economic ideology and movement whose ultimate goal is the establishment of a communist society, a common universal society. Does that sound wrong to you? Which is a socio-economic order structured upon the common ownership of the means of production and the absence of social classes, money and the state. Again, does that sound something bad to you? It includes a variety of schools of thought, which broadly includes Marxism and anarchism. Find out the real definition of anarchy. Again, it's not what you think it is. Now, all of these share the analysis that the current order of society stems from its economic system, which is capitalism, and that in this system there are two major social classes that conflict between two classes of the root of all the problems in society, and that this situation will ultimately be resolved through a social revolution. Well, Russia had its revolution, except it wasn't done by the Russian people, was it? As his story told us. Now, the two classes are the working class, who must work to survive and make up the majority within society, and the capitalist class, a minority who derive profit from employing the working class through private ownership by means of production. Now, according to the revolution, it will put the working class in power and turn established social ownership of the means of production, which according to this analysis is the primary element in the transformation of society towards communism. Common, universal. Universal means all-inclusive. That doesn't mean hierarchy, does it? Now, critics of communism can roughly be divided into those concerning themselves with the practical aspects of the 20th century communist states, except they're not communist states, they are a political ideology done by the Khazarians in both Russia and China. Nothing to do with the Russians or the Chinese. It was implemented. Now, the term communism was first coined and defined in its modern definition by the French philosopher and writer Victor Duhupay, D''Hupay, in his 1777 book, Project du Commute Philosophy. He pushes the philosophy of the Enlightenment to principles which he lived up to during most of his life. Enlightenment, common, universal. Now, that book can be seen as the cornerstone of the communist philosophy, and he defines his lifestyle as a commune and advises to share all economic and material products between inhabitants of the commune so that all may benefit from everybody's work. That's the original definition of communism. Again, I'll ask, does that sound bad to you? Now, communist thought has also been traced back to the works in the 16th century and the English writer Thomas More, in his treatise Utopia, written in 1516, More portrayed a society based on a common ownership of property. The people owned it, whose rulers administered it through the application of reason. You do all realise that the current mode of communism was introduced by the Khazarian Jews, not Russia, not China. And if you don't understand or know that, listen to my series From Russia with Love Part 1 and 2. It details it all, and you will gain a greater perspective on it all. Now, some will say fascism is the worst form of government, but it depends on who is designated for extermination, doesn't it? So to a fascist, they're fine, they think it's great, which is why you had Nazis. Now, in reality, fascism is a speedy death program, whilst all other government ideologies are a slow death program. Communism, or as I would like to change it to communalism, is all about we the people, all about working and sharing things. No social classes, no hierarchy, no cabal, no 1%, no anyone thinking they're above anybody else, and a community all chipping in. Does that sound bad to you? That's the real definition of communism, and why it's been denigrated like the Rus and the Slavonic Aryan people into worse than a 4-letter word. This is how they play the game. And it's only when you take the time to go and look at it for yourself, what it really means, then suddenly it all makes sense. For the last 60 years, Americans have been brought up to hate communism and Russia, but they've never attacked, have they? All those funds wasted on the so-called fake Cold War, because that's all it was, fake. All an illusion that the two countries were at war with each other. Complete illusion. When you had the earlier story about NASA were working with the Russians, or the fact that Five Eyes CIA has been working with the KGB for the last 70 years, and also Mossad. But the countries take the flak. One day we'll all realise it's nothing to do with the countries and everything to do with political ideology and control systems. They just use certain countries as the political football at various timelines. So hating on Russians and hating on the Chinese people and hating on Iraqi people or Muslim people or hating on British people because of the British Empire. We the people should be hating on no one except the common enemy, the ones who hide behind the scenes and pull the strings.